It should redirect me to a new window. I'm gonna come up.
So
and I have to pause it. And I'm going to pull up the chat too. All right. So there's that. We are live right now.
Okay.
Got it. Okay.
I've got my chat ready.
Yeah, I want to be able to see the chat.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are live. All right. And there is my chat. Okay, so let me make sure it came up on my phone, everyone. As you can see, we are here with my guest, Mrs. Amber Hunt. Yep. All right, we are good. Hopefully everyone can hear us. So just let us know if there's any issues in the chat. I tested out my microphone and all that before we started. And do you want to introduce who you have with you?
I have my youngest, Ella. She is 3.5 months old.
And she has been cracking us up. She's been like laughing. Now she's going for your hair. Ella. Yep. Every time I talk to her, she starts laughing. She's been cracking us up on this. So, but yes, I have known Amber for a number of years, quite a while. I don't even know. When did you start playing volleyball?
I know seventh grade for sure. But I know I saw you. I know when we went to junior camp and stuff like that. I remember doing stuff with y'all at junior camp. Mm-hmm. So I know I started going to Church of Faith in 4th grade. So I've known you sometimes since like 5th grade. And
Now, did you ever do any of were you, you might've been too old when they started doing like the day trip camps with Brother Jason Monkowski. And then I know my husband helped out with that too. I never went on that, but it was like a day. No, you might have been too old.
No, I don't think so. Mm-hmm. I don't remember that.
Because he knows a lot of the younger kids through there too. He became friends with them and stuff. So yeah, we've known each other. She used to live in Illinois, but now she lives in Texas with her 5 children, right?
Yes.
And can you tell their ages? Go ahead and tell what their ages are.
I have a 6-year-old, a 5-year-old. Zeke is about to be 4 next week, and then a 2-year-old and my 3.5-month-old. So it's a full house here.
Yeah. Which is why I wanted to have Amber on tonight to talk about the subject, because Amber has always impressed me with, and of course, I have seen you since you've had kids one time in person since then, but just even interactions with you, through the show, through texting, through online stuff, just noticing that you are just completely in love with being a mom and completely in love with your children. And you've managed to keep the joy, even though I know it's chaos sometimes. And I know you are stretched to the very maximum because you have so many littles right now. So you are my hero because you actually have more in a shorter time. I think I had 3 that were 3 and under at one point. But then our gaps did start getting a little bit longer. And now I've got 8 that are almost 20 down to 1. So you're going to have me beat by a long shot if you keep up this pace going on here. So, but we did want to start out by talking about just kind of keeping your joy when you have a lot of little. And I know for me, this is something I have struggled with because when I had a lot of littles, I was just so overwhelmed and so tired. And, sleep is like one of my love languages. And as you know, sometimes you run on barely any sleep.
Me too.
And I know for me, like the day that I finally realized that I just needed to take everything day by day and not think to myself, I'm going to be in this season for like the next 20 years of my life. When I learned to start just taking it day by day, everything that came up, I think that helped me tremendously and it helped me get in a better frame of mind to just be able to deal with things and to have joy as I was doing it. So what are some things that help you?
Definitely the same thing. I realized that around when I had the 3 and under, that was like super hard for me. And I was just like, I just felt like I was going to lose my mind. And I was like, you know what, this is just going to have to be how it is. And so I just chose to embrace it instead of just being, just dwelling on how hard it was and everything. And I've always liked how Nehemiah was in the Bible, how like when the king knew Nehemiah was sad, because he was just seemed like he was always so happy. And so I'm like, I want to be like that. I want to be the kind of person that people are like, man, she's always happy, unless if there's something actually wrong. So that's always been something that, I've always wanted to strive for. Obviously, I'm not perfect with it, but.
No, I mean, no one's perfect, but I think overall you can develop a testimony and a reputation. Are you known to be a complainer? Is like everything in your life, this catastrophe, is the world coming to an end? You're asking for all these prayer requests and then no one ever hears if they get answered, like they did, obviously, because you're here, you're not dead, but you never get the praise for it, So, or are you known to be a person that does exhibit joy? And I mean, you went through a really tough situation just a year ago.
Yeah.
Right? We're coming up on a year now of that freeze in Texas.
Yeah. It's amazing how God worked it out, because our apartment complex, every single building had multiple problems, and they shut down the water. We had no water for days, and everything was just crazy. We couldn't make hot food because every time the power would finally turn back on, they'd end up turning it back off. So we have a family that we're friends with at church, and they said that they had someone who had booked out one of their Airbnbs that they have, but that person canceled it. But because the cleaning fee was non-refundable, it was already paid for. So she told us that, hey, y'all can just stay, because the cleaning fee was paid for. She's like, y'all just have to clean up the place, because the lady who cleans it couldn't get out there. So we got to stay at their cabin for a week, and they had power the whole time, water. I was able to do laundry and everything. And it was just so beautiful. And the place had like a really pretty porch swing. So John and I got to go out and sit out there at night. And it was like a date every night. It was just so awesome. And I just know God worked it out for us that way. It was just cool.
Totally did.
But when we were still here at our apartment, John had to go to the pool and just keep getting buckets full of water just to be able to flush the toilet. It was so bad.
That's so awful. And you went through that for a long time. And even when you came back, it was not good.
Yeah,
the situation that you walked into, just with the smell and everything in the
kids' room had damage and stuff. And they didn't fix the kids' room until like half a year later. Like it took them, it was, I think, the month before Ella was born, they finally got it fixed. It was ridiculous. So the kids were literally sleeping on their bed in our living room. So like we didn't even have, because we couldn't use their bedroom because the carpet was all nasty and it was pulled back because they took out half of the padding and stuff under it. So we just had to let the kids sleep in the living room.
See, and I didn't even know that, because you didn't complain about it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to turn your volume up a little bit. Hopefully, guys, tell me if the volume's okay. Mine's up really loud, but hers was not. So let me know if her volume's okay. So, but even through that, I mean, I didn't even really know. I know you had told me, you kind of kept me updated as you were going through it, but I can't even imagine going through that with so many little kids.
Yeah. It was frustrating for sure, but I figured there's really no point in complaining for me. So I've learned, and usually when I feel like complaining, I've learned that if I just go to God with it, he always ends up working something to just really cheer me up. Because there was one day where I was just feeling really down last year, or it was 2 years ago. And I was just praying and I was just pouring my heart out to him. And then somebody ended up texting me and was like, hey, we want to bless y'all with a meal. And like, they got us all this really awesome food and stuff. And it was just like completely out of nowhere. And I'm like, I know God did that. I know God put that on their heart for us when I was just having a really tough day. So
yeah, I agree. And I also wanted to throw something in there too. I wanted to kind of give a shout out to some people that have just blessed me in this last week. I've had a lot of very nice comments, and a lot of nice texts sent my way, a monetary gift given just to help GLS. So I was able to go pay for the next 2 years of the website, because a lot of people don't know it costs almost $200 a year just to run the website, keep the website up with the blog and all that. I was able to buy the domain for the next 3 years. So a lot of just blessings this last week, which really helped. And I do believe that God does kind of know when you're down, when you need those blessings. So a big shout out to all of you that have just encouraged me with your emails and your texts and your comments. It really is encouraging to know that week after week after week, there are women watching and getting stuff out of this, learning how to be better moms and learning how to be better wives and just learning how to be better Christians. So thank you all to everyone who reached out this last week. It really did mean a lot. So it definitely meant a lot. But I know also for me with keeping my joy when I had littles, now I'm going to ask you this and put you on the spot. Do you ever do little things for yourself?
Yes, definitely. I like to keep like some kind of treat in the house for me for when I'm just like, when I finally have that peace and that quiet time. I have my chocolates that I love, or John always gets me some kind of chocolate bar or some kind of snack. And I always make it a point to have a quiet time every day to make sure I get a little bit of peace for myself. And I've recently started learning how to crochet. And I really like that because it's pretty relaxing. So like when I have nap time and things like that, and I have a chance to just sit and crochet, it's very kind of like numbing for your mind. So instead of thinking about everything that's going on, you're able to just kind of zone out and think about what you're doing. And it's just really relaxing. And since I play piano, I love doing stuff with my hands. So it's something that's perfect for me.
Yes, I'm so glad you got into piano too, because I really encouraged you. The last time I saw you, I'm like, you need to get back to it. I knew that you love doing it. So I'm so glad that you're giving that gift to your children as well. And I know your family loves hearing you play as well. So, but are you a structured nap time mama?
Not super structured, but mostly Silas goes down anywhere from 1 to 2, depending on like what time he woke up and how he's been that morning when he gets tired. And then Ella usually falls asleep around 1 and sleeps till 3-ish if she's tired enough. But the big kids, I'll usually let them watch a movie, or I'll set them down with something crafts or something like that. And I'll let them have their time and they can read or do whatever they want to do, but they have to be quiet. So
right. Mm-hmm. I like that. Yes. And when I had littles, I did the same as well, because I came to the point where I realized for my mental state that I had to have a little bit of time to myself. And also when you have little kids too, that's why early bedtime. I don't know. Do you guys do early bedtimes or?
We try to, but we're really bad about doing it consistently.
Oh man, we were like adamant. We were like, they have to be in bed by 7, no later than 7:30. And then that's when we would always we were poor when we were first married. So, we would pop an old video into the VCR and we would watch video, cuddle up by the couch, make popcorn, whatever. So that was kind of like our, little connecting time, but it's not as bad now. Oh, are you getting tired? She's like rubbing her eyes.
Oh, you sleepy head.
Oh, are you getting sleepy? So yeah, those are definitely some ways that I learned how to, I think mindset number 1 is important. And do you ever have to talk to yourself? Like you start getting thoughts, like, well, this is so hard. This is so draining. How do you talk yourself out of that? When you've got
a lot of times I find myself praying when I start getting like that and just telling God, like, I can't handle this right now. I can't do it anymore. And I'm like, Lord, I need you to just put something that just calms these kids' spirits and everything and just help me right now because I can't do it. And usually that always helps. Or if I'm having just a really hard time and sometimes I'll put on happy music. There's a lot of good Christian songs out there you can listen to that's upbeat and that will cheer you up. And sometimes I'll just dance with the kids or something like that. And then it'll make me laugh. It'll make them laugh. And it cheers everybody up. It makes it a happier spirit and you're all doing something together. And I know for me, one of my big things is making sure I get my Bible time helps me a lot. I feel like I've accomplished a lot when I read my Bible. So I try to make it a point. I've been really good about it so far this year, where I wake up early enough to read my Bible. And then if I'm still tired, I can go back to sleep, but at least I know I got my Bible read for the day. And that really helps me to have a good day.
So what time do you have to get up to make that happen?
7:00. So it's not bad.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
that's not bad.
Usually I get up at 7 and the kids are up at 8. So
okay, that's
pretty good time.
Yeah, that's enough time. I've actually been doing my Bible reading when I'm walking on the treadmill this year. And it's working out really well. So then I'm exercising while I'm reading my Bible. And that's what makes me feel a lot better. I can tell I'm having a bad day if I've not gotten those things done. But if I get my Bible reading done and the walking, my exercising, and then just showering after that, then I feel like a new woman.
Yeah.
So I really feel like a new woman. I remember when my kids were real little and at the house that we were in, we had the treadmill in this dark dungeon of a basement and we had this big vent. I think I've told this story before, but we had like this big vent in the living room. So I would be running or walking right below and I could like hear what they were doing. I would like put a movie on or something. And then all of a sudden I would see them like start throwing stuff down the vent. As I was walking and I'm like, don't throw that. And I feel like I'm coming down the bed, Mommy, are you almost done? They'd be like yelling and be like, oh, it was so hard to get my workout in. Then it's so much nicer now that I have older kids that the other ones before me, but.
That's why I've been waking up early so I could try to do the workout in the morning. And if I can't, I'll ride, because we have an elliptical, like one of those bikes that you ride inside. So I usually try to do that like during nap time if I can't do it in the morning, because I know the big kids will stay away from the bike. And I don't like them being near it. It scares me. So
I know it scares me at the treadmill too. Like if they're trying to walk by it, walking, because I know. So it's hard for us moms to kind of get our workout in, but I do think it does. For me, mentally, it helps to just get some kind of physical, exercise in, a little bit of sweat going. So
yeah, it gives me more energy too. I notice when I'm up and doing things, because I feel like with Ella, the reason I had so much energy when I was pregnant with her was because we were playing basketball all the time. So I was constantly doing stuff. So it really helped.
Yeah. And it's nice where you live because it's pretty much warm year round. So even if you wanted to take a walk outside, I don't know what it's like, where you guys are, but you could even do that. Here in Illinois, obviously we have to do inside stuff, but
it gets cold though. It's cold right now, but it's nothing compared to up there. And except for like the snow last year, but yeah. And then it's sometimes in the summer though, it gets a little too humid to really be out in it, but unless we go to the splash pad. So we went to the splash pad a lot. So we'd do the splash pad and then we'd do basketball. So I could get all wet and cool down and then we could play some basketball so I don't overheat. That would help. And the kids would have fun and they'd play, and then they'd know they have to stay near mommy and daddy while we play basketball. But they got to have their fun and then they still get to play while we play too. So
Yep. All right. Well, let's go into some of the things, unless you had more about that. Some of the things that kind of help. I know I've said this before in previous ones. I can't remember which one we were talking about this, but I get asked a lot from women. What do you do when there's lots of littles? What do you do to help? And for me, I was actually more organized when I had lots of littles because I had to be. As my kids have gotten older, they do a lot more for me. So I don't have to be quite as organized. I don't have to think of, every single meal. Your day's coming, Amber. I don't have to think of every single meal to make every night. And, I don't have to do it. My daughters can do it or something. So how do you do your grocery shopping?
So usually we'll either do like HEB pickup. Like I know you've mentioned how you can do pickup, but we usually do HEB because HEB is the better grocery store here. But a lot of times John will just go and get stuff for me. Yep. So it really helps. John does most of the grocery shopping. So it really helps me out that I don't have to worry about it. But if we all go, I'll wear her in the carrier, and then 2 of the kids will go in a cart, and then 2 of the kids will walk. And we just pile things around the kid that's in the cart. So we just make it work.
Oh man, they did not have pickup or anything like that when I had little kids, and my husband is not a grocery shopper. So I would usually he would just rather watch the kids at home while I went. So he would watch, and that was kind of like my little getaway. Like I would just, take that time to it sounds funny that grocery shopping was a getaway, but it was. So I would do the grocery shopping. My father-in-law, though, he is the same. He liked to do the shopping. So he would do the shopping and my mother-in-law would just stay at home with the kids, but just do whatever works for you. But now Walmart pickup is a lifesaver for me, even now. I was telling my husband the other day, because I'd been going back to Aldi, and I was telling him that, you don't realize how much work goes into it, because you have to put it in the cart, and then you have to put it on the belt, and then you have to, at Aldi, you have to pack it up yourself. Then you have to pack it in the car. Then you have to unpack it at home. And he was like, why don't you just do pickup? Because I started doing pickup at the beginning of COVID because I didn't want to deal with the stupidity. And I was like, I think maybe I'll go back to that. So
I didn't know Aldi had pickup. We don't have Aldi here, but we had it in Tulsa when we lived there, and I miss it because we always went growing up in Illinois. It's one of the best stores.
Aldi just got pickup like the last 2 months. My friend Heidi actually told me that they just got pickup the last 2 months. I think everything might be marked up a little bit higher for the convenience, but I say do whatever is more convenient for you. And then like with me, do you have a certain type of menu that you follow, or how do you do like your menu planning and things?
we have like basic things that we know we like. We usually keep stuff for certain easy meals on hand for like if we know we're going to be a busy week or things like that. But then also sometimes we'll just get pre-made stuff if it's a really busy week, just stuff that you just warm up and stuff like that, like taco stuff from HEB, because they have a lot of good pre-made foods that's like actually cooked. So we do that. I know there's this one meal, I just made it tonight. It's called Korean beef. You just make your rice and it's like 15 minutes. You just mix the ingredients together and you cook the beef and it's done super easy and it's super delicious. That's one that I make a lot. And then for lunches, usually it's easy things again, like sandwiches, Lunchables, pizza, just your basic, just whatever's the easiest thing you can find. Because it's just, I'm busy all day with the kids, with homeschooling 2 of them and then taking care of the baby and everything. It's just, I just like to find whatever's the easiest thing I can. I like crock pot meals a lot. Those are the best because it's just throw everything in and then you're good to go.
Right. If you guys have any questions too, things that you want to know, if you have littles, just go ahead and leave them in the chat. So just wanted to throw that out there. But yes, I did a lot of when I had little kids, and this was always a big hit with them too, I would do a lot of breakfast foods for supper. I know a lot of people don't like doing that, but my husband actually likes breakfast foods. So that would be like bacon, eggs, and toast, pancakes and sausage links, French toast and bacon, stuff like that. I know if you're looking to cut down your carbs, that's not exactly the best plan, but if you're doing something like Trim Healthy Mama, that you could make alternative pancakes with the meat for you, that's something too that you could do. I've done that before when I've made pancakes and stuff for them, but it was the same. I would have like the same basic meals like taco night. Another cheap meal we did was homemade pizza. I did it a lot when the kids were younger. Now that we're a little bit better off financially, I'll order pizza rather than, making the homemade pizza. But homemade pizza is a very cheap option and a quick option.
And it's fun for the kids too. My kids love when we get to do that. They're like, can we make our own pizzas? Yes. So I've let them do that before and they like that.
Another cheap, easy way to do is the Rhodes. Do you know the Rhodes rolls? They have the loaves. They have the loaves. You can buy 5. It is reasonably priced. I think it's below $5 for 5 of the frozen loaves. And then you just thaw those out and you can roll them out, cut them in half, and everyone can have their own individual pizza from those too.
Oh, wow. That's a good idea. I didn't know that.
And it's really, really good dough.
I'll have to try that. Their rolls are super good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All of their bread is really, really good. So that's an option too. All right. So then what about, so this is another thing. And this is a very, very broad question. Obviously, and I know you know this because from what I've seen, your children are very well behaved and you spend a lot of work and a lot of time training them.
Yes.
So how does training your kids when they're young help as they get older? I know that's a broad question.
What I've noticed with like, since my oldest is 6, I've really learned like when they hit 2, basically, that's when it's like you go into full training mode with mine. At least It's always been 2 years old. It's like you really have to buckle down with them. Yes. But once you do it by 2.5, they've really listened. And then as they get older, it just gets so much easier because they don't like getting spankings. So they listen and they really, you could teach them and they're smarter. They grow up. It's just, for me, it's been like, it's gotten so much easier as he's gotten older. Daniel barely ever gets spankings anymore because we did so much work with him back then that now he listens most of the time so easily and he does so good.
Yes. And I found that, especially with my strong-willed ones, usually they've gotten it by age 3. So I still do have the occasional battle. It's getting fewer and farther between with Kelly. She'll be 3 this Friday, but she has really come far. And I've noticed it's really clicked within the last 2 or 3 months with her, but it's different with every kid. I've had some, Abby, my, 17-year-old, when she was Kelly's age, we did not have near the battles that we did with Kelly. With Abby, you just had to look at her. And she was like, I'm sorry.
When Daniel was really little, if you told him no, he would just cry so hard. And so his uncle came over once and he just kept saying no to Daniel. And Daniel was just crying. And I was like, just staying quiet. But then my father-in-law was like, stop. He was super angry that they was making Daniel cry.
What is it with brothers antagonizing? See, your brother was even antagonizing your kid. My older sons, they love to try to get Hannah. They've got her doing this things. So like Hannah she's 14 months old, but she's already spunky, and I blame them entirely because my older kids did not do that at this age. So now there'll just be someone random at church, like Amy yesterday. One of the ladies at church was like, "Hi, Hannah," and Hannah's just like, "Eh." And I'm like, come on, she's 14 months old, and Kelly's finally getting good, and now Hannah's getting into the stage.
At least it's like there's only one that's in the really bad stage at a time. It seems like so far.
Yeah, and that's kind of how it is and then too, I feel like the older ones, or they kind of learn off of each other.
Yeah, definitely.
Because your younger ones will see the older ones getting in trouble for something, or your older ones vice versa, and they're like, "Oh, I better not do that," So, definitely. What age are your kids when they start sitting through church pretty regularly?
They start a little bit at 3. They can sit on and off. They usually sit for one service, but usually at 4 for sure. I'm like, okay, you have to stay for all services now. But because I just like to give them a little bit of a chance, because they still sit for one service at 3, but at 4, I just want them through all of them first. Because we don't make it on Thursdays usually because it's so far. We live an hour away. Usually we just stay all day on Sunday. So Thursdays are very hard to get down there because traffic is just so bad too. So normally it's an hour drive, but on Thursdays with the traffic, it turns into like an hour and a half to a 2-hour drive, depending on how bad it is. And then with work and everything, it's most of the time, it's just not possible to go.
Yeah. I remember the Capriati's used to live there, and they used to say the same thing. Like, the traffic is horrible. So that's exactly my policy too, is kind of with my kids, by the time they're 3, I don't want them in the nursery, mother baby room, whatever you call it. And so Kelly is pretty much primarily sitting through services now, but yes, most definitely by the time they're 4, at 3, you can kind of make, if they're not feeling well, or you can make allowances, but I really start the closer they get to 3, I start working with them. Like first is the song service, I'll have, because most kids are very entertained by the song service.
Yeah.
And then we'll try to make it through a little bit of the preaching. It might only be 5 or 10 minutes, but we make it through as long as we can. And then most of the time, by the time they're 3 or right at 3, I try to get them to where they're sitting through all of the preaching. So
I might always sit for the song service with their daddy because I play the piano. So they have to sit with daddy.
Right. Exactly.
But they all do pretty good. So
you've probably pretty much been back in the mother baby room a lot.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't think I've ever really I think I sat through like one full service I got to sit through. That was it, because the baby fell asleep on me, whoever was the baby at the time. Yeah. But usually they're wide awake and being crazy like this. Yes.
Oh man, that's crazy. Now, thankfully for me, I have older girls, so they do help out. They'll sit back with the baby, because now that we've got Kelly sitting through, we still have Hannah, and Hannah's only 14 months, and she's been sitting through the song service pretty well. We've kept her in there for the song service, but then we usually have to take her out because she's crazy and talking and all of that. So, but yeah,
I try to baby wear them as long as I can while playing too. So until they get too big and too rambunctious while I'm playing, and I just can't play with them on me anymore. So usually that helps when they're real little.
Right. And I actually did wear, the video that you sent me was so cute, because I actually wore, I think it was Hannah about 6 months ago when I had to play, and she was not wanting anyone but me. So I wore her while I played, and she slept the whole time. It was nice. But Cynthia asked, what activities do you have for the littles in service? Do you do any activities? Do you let them draw or read a book?
We have before, but they tend to just drop stuff a lot, and we have loud floors. So John's like, no, you're just going to sit, or they can look through the hymnal and they can read the hymnal or look at a Bible or something. But usually they don't really get to bring anything anymore because it just gets too loud.
Right. Yeah. No, that is a good point. Ours has carpet, so it's not really a big deal. they have these really cool, Melissa and Doug, if you're looking off Amazon, they're these water books. And what it is it's like a blank, and then you have this little water pen, but it doesn't really get messy unless they would accidentally unscrew it. Water would go over. And the nice thing is, after it dries, you can redo it again. So it's really cool. They're really cool. And so that's a nice mess-free option. We
have one of those, like the tablet thingies that you can write. That's just like the color tablets. My kids love those too. We bring those sometimes.
Those are
We
called
like those.
boogie boards, I think.
Yeah, I think it's something like that. And then the poppets. I know a lot of kids like poppets.
Yeah.
I've seen other ladies have their kids have the poppets at church and stuff. So those are good ones too.
And then there's these also, this kept Kelly occupied for like 2 weeks. that was about it. But it's like a magnetic board and it flips up and you can put the magnets on and it does like different pictures or
that's cool.
Things. Yeah. So she likes that for about 2 weeks, but she doesn't play with it anymore. But those are just some options. And then of course, like books or, different things. But Callie seems to prefer just, I don't know, just to kind of sit on my lap and play with my hair or, yeah, she's not really been going for any of that stuff lately. So it just depends on the kid. But what do you have to do on Saturdays to prepare for Sundays?
So I have a lot on Saturdays that I have to do. I do, because usually on Sundays, we just eat out for lunch and dinner. Or if we're not eating out for lunch, we'll have potluck at church or we'll bring sandwich stuff. So if we're not eating out, I have to get the sandwich stuff ready and make sure everything's packed. And then I have to make sure whatever we're going to do for Sunday morning for breakfast is ready. Because usually we try to do something quick or John and I get breakfast out. And then I have to get ready all their PJs. Since we live an hour away, John usually goes sewing on Sundays. So that means that we don't get home till like 9 o'clock, sometimes 10 o'clock, depending on when he gets back and after we get our food and everything like that. So I have their PJs. I get them in their pajamas at church. I have to have the snack bag. I have my bags. If I have anything for piano I need to bring, I have that already. I try to set it all in a certain spot on our counter, kind of like, and on the floor, right where it's ready for me to just grab it on Sunday morning to go. And I try to always do bath time on Friday night. So that way I don't have to worry about it on Saturday since I'm already so busy. And I like to try to do an easier meal on Saturday night, something that like doesn't require as many dishes. Mm-hmm. And I always like to make sure that the dishwasher is full on Saturday night. So that way when I wake up on Sunday morning, it's not just a sink full of dishes that sits in the sink all day. And then Monday morning it's there too. And it just helps to see the sink clean for me.
Yes. Yeah.
And I lay out my outfits. I get all their outfits laid out too. So we pick all their outfits out during the week. It depends on like when I'm washing it. If I wash it on Thursday or something, I'm like, okay, I know I want you to wear this. Let's put this up for Sunday so they don't get it dirty. Yeah. So that's I do all that. I can't think of anything else. I think that's everything that I do.
That's what I do. I do all that on Saturday. And I shared something on Facebook and it was true. It was Sunday, going to church on Sunday takes Saturday preparation. And it really does, especially when you have littles. And that's the thing. I lay out all the clothes, all the shoes. There's always a missing
Oh, yes. It's always the shoes.
Yes.
I'll have them ready and they'll still be on Sunday morning. Like, where are my shoes? And I'm like, I don't know. I had you get them all out already.
That has happened before too. Yes. So definitely. And then all the food, because I have to do the food. I have a lot of food that I have to do. So it's all the food, everything like that. So yeah, it's crazy. And then Miss Chinello asked, so how do the older ones sit in the service when you have younger ones under 3 that can't sit through the service? Do the older ones stay with their dad or do they have to go with you to the mother baby room?
They usually stay with their dad.
Yeah.
So they all sit with daddy and I do. And I just take Zeke and Ella, and it depends. Well, I take Zeke for one service and for just the preaching part for Zeke. And then Silas, I take for both services with Ella. So.
Okay. Yeah. And then for me, obviously my husband's preaching. So my oldest above Kelly is Lana. So, and yeah, mine just sit there. They just sit there. They don't really have, and it's crazy because when you don't have nursery workers like we don't, I really depend on a lot of the ladies of the church on Sunday mornings and because I'm at the piano and all of my children down to Allie are playing instruments.
Oh, wow.
Lana is not able to watch the babies yet by herself. Yeah. So I kind of, when Gina is, they're in Florida now, but when Gina was here, Kelly knew to just go sit by Miss Gina. And so Miss Gina was kind of my person. I missed her while she's gone for the winter. But now lately she's been sitting with Heidi, sitting in the back with Heidi. And then I asked Julia, Julia, I asked Julia to keep Hannah for me, this past Sunday, and everyone's been sick. So I'm like, where's all my people? So
man.
Kelly was kind of walking around the church yesterday during the service. It was like, oh my goodness. Oh, it could be kind of crazy. But the nice thing about family integrated churches is that people are used to kids kind of running around sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
It's not really out of place. We're not this hoity-toity church where, you know, you're going to get thrown out because your kid is walking across the aisle. So
yeah. Yeah, I've had usually once the baby gets too big for me to wear them anymore. Usually it's once they hit like 10, 11, 12 months, I'll ask somebody to hold them for me during the service, because I just during the songs part. So because I can't wear them once they get too crazy. If they're squirming around and stuff, I just can't wear them. But she's different though, because all my others were only 6 pounds when they were born, and she is 8 pounds, so she's already really fat. So with her, it's already a little bit harder because she's so much bigger than they were. But
she's a little chub.
She is.
Super cute. So I hope that answers your question, Chanello. She's got a lot of littles as well. So, but then for me, I know I had to, and like your diaper bag is probably just crazy packed with like extra outfits and And then for me, my go-to has always been 2 hours. I give myself 2 hours from the time that we need to leave, like 2 hours, my coffee's drink, and then I have 2 hours left to get myself and all the kids ready. So that's kind of my in my head. I have to anytime we go anywhere, and we like live off of McMurtry time. So, and that's like, we're an hour early for everything. So I have to plan 2 hours before the time that we're going to be there. Do you have a kind of a certain guideline that you follow, or?
I'm the exact same way. When I saw you said that, I'm like, oh my goodness, I do that exact thing. It's exactly 2 hours, because that's how long it takes me. It's always 2 hours to make sure everybody's ready and out the door. Because I always have to give that extra time, because if I don't give that extra time, somebody's going to have a missing shoe. Somebody has to pee. There's always something or somebody pooped or something. There's always a problem. And then if I don't give that extra time in the 2 hours, I'm not going to make it on time. So it's always 2 hours ahead of time for me too.
Yeah. And you have to plan for it. Cause like you said, something's going to come up. It's not going to be seamless, and something's going to come up. So
that was this Sunday. We were about to walk out the door, and then Ava was like, I have to go pee. And I'm like, you were just standing there for like 10 minutes, not doing anything. And now you have to go as we're about to go out the door.
Of course. So then Melanie asked, how do you deal with feeling overwhelmed with the baby and all the kids, especially in public places? I find I'm more overwhelmed than ever with baby number 5.
Usually I baby wear, so that helps a lot. And if I start getting just frustrated or things like that, I usually we just end up, it's time to go. I know, I'm like, okay, I can't do it anymore. It's time to go for me. I don't push it. Once I start getting too overwhelmed and I'm too tired and things, I just want to go home. I don't want to deal with it anymore.
Right. Do you feel like, is there ever a time when you've just been in a funk where maybe more than a day or 2 or a week, and you're thinking, I'm overwhelmed with life right now? I'm almost thinking too that she means even just overwhelmed in general.
Yeah, definitely. When I get to that point, John usually notices too. And I always tell him, like, I need a break. I have to get away from the kids. I have to do something for just myself and just be away from the kids. And so he's dropped me off in the store before and let me get a drink, and I'll just walk around, or I've gone shopping for myself or gotten a haircut, just something for me only. And I'll just go in without any kids. He'll take care of the baby. He'll take care of everybody. And I'll just get a full break whenever I need it. Whenever I just get to that point where I can't do it anymore, he knows, okay, we need to get mama her recharge. That's so important that you get recharged, because otherwise you're never going to make it.
Yes, that is so mature of you to realize that, because young moms have a really hard time with this. I've seen, and this is coming from experience as a young mom. I had a very hard time with this, because you feel guilty in a way, like, I have to pour everything into it. But there comes a point when you only have so much to give. And that's why I do think that parenting is the number one thing in my life that has made me cry out to God more than ever. Like you said, I can't do, and we can't do it without his help. Parenting is hard. Raising kids is hard, no matter what age you have, no matter what spectrum your kids are on, because it's physically hard when they're little, but as they grow, they're going to need guidance and shepherding, and it's going to be mentally hard, and you're going to have to pour in that mental effort and really train, and just, it's always hard.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like that you say you take a break. That's very mature, actually, because yes, you need a break. Moms need to recharge. Mom needs some time for themselves. Mom needs people not to be in their bubble for a half hour or an hour.
Yeah. Go for a walk or something if it's nice weather out. I always love when I just get the chance to just go for a walk, and it's just so refreshing not have someone asking you questions every 5 minutes. Because mine love to talk. I think they get that from me. Because Daniel has a really hard time focusing at school. He just wants to talk the whole time. I'm like, look, you have to raise your hand if you have questions, because otherwise we're not going to get school done. You just keep talking. We have to focus.
Yes.
Because I don't realize it. And I just keep talking back to him because he'll ask me random questions. And I'm like, wait, no, we got to stop talking. We got to do school now. I can't keep talking to you.
Right. That's funny. Oh, what did Chanel say? Let me see. Make sure I'm not. She said, might have been known to wander as well. My kids refused to go or sit with anyone else. Yeah, that's tough. And then since my husband is the pastor, I'm pretty much a single mother during Sunday services. Yes, I quite know that feeling. It'll get better once they start getting older for sure. And Adonna's to the point where she's definitely old enough to help out with the kids, occasionally. I'm talking to Chanello right now, but her and, oh, well, not really. I would say probably just Adonna right now, but she is getting old enough that she could help with one of the little ones too, if they'll go to her or let her do it. So, and I think that's a good point too. I don't know. I remember when my mom would go away with my dad for the night, and she would tell me, she would say, we're going away for the night because our marriage is important. And we're focusing on us. We need a break from you guys, but you guys need a break from us. And I always remember her saying that. And this is good for you guys to get a break too. And I always remember her saying it. And I almost think it was because, we would usually like stay with my grandparents, or when we got old enough, we just stay at home. And I think it was good for us to see them taking time. But I also think it was good for us just learning how to interact with other people, and obviously that's hard if you don't live around family. I know you don't. So you guys,
John's family is an hour away, so it's really hard. And his mom passed away when he was younger, so we don't really have a chance to have anyone. Yeah. His dad will watch the kids on occasion, but it's hard for him with working and things like that. So we've never actually been able to go away overnight. So I'm like, I really, really want to, but it's really hard to when we don't have anybody to watch them. That's hard. Another thing though, that recharges me. Sometimes I'll tell John, like, I need us to do like a date night at home or something. Yeah. I just had a memory pop up on Facebook from last year. I guess we had done painting at this time last year. And that's like, I like to do little things at home when we can, just something different. There's some really cool mystery kits, like to solve like the murder mystery kits. Mm-hmm. We've gotten those from Amazon for like $30, and they're really fun. And it's like a 3-night thing for us. So it's been really fun. We like those. Yeah. And they're really clean. There wasn't anything bad in them. It was just really fun to do those too. We've done like 3 or 4 of those. So
that's really cool. I know when we were younger, Amanda, can you get rid of that? I don't know what that Burem guy just put. Can you delete that for me, please? We used to there was this computer game, and it was called Riddle of the Sphinx. And we would put the kids to bed like 7:00, 7:30, let's put the kids to bed. And then we'd spend like an hour or two doing this Riddle of the Sphinx game. And it was so fun. And we just loved it. And stuff like that is just bonding, keep your relationship. You need to keep your relationship strong with your husband too, because once those kids are grown, you two are going to be the only ones, you can't let that relationship deteriorate as you're raising kids, which I know is tough. So at home date nights, we've done that as well. We have put the kids to bed. I've ordered food, here in town, and then we've just sat and ate the food, and
sometimes it's good for us just putting our phones down and just sitting and eating something and talking. Because sometimes we find ourselves where we haven't talked in a while, just to sit and talk. Because we could still, and like when we do it, we could stay up all night talking. And we're like, we have to go to bed, we have to stop talking. But then we just keep talking to each other. But we always end up laughing really hard and just having a good time. So I know a lot of times with me, when I need the recharge, just spending time with him and talking to him and laughing, us having fun together really helps me a lot too.
Yes. Just having adult conversation.
Yeah, definitely.
Not answering why the sky is blue or why water is wet or
yeah, exactly.
yeah, whatever.
Uh-huh.
So homeschooling, you're doing a good job. You are using a Becca, correct?
I'm actually using life packs this year. I used a Becca last year. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you did what you switched, which is totally fine when you're homeschooling. Shop around, see which curriculum. It's not going to kill your kids if you try out different curriculums for each year and then find out which fits you the best. I've done a bunch of curriculums and my kids are still advancing. So as long as they're advancing and moving forward, then that's what you want. Now you have two doing.
Yes.
Homeschooled.
I have a first grader and a kindergartner right now.
Can you kind of tell me a little bit about your homeschool day? Now, I'm assuming it's not an 8-hour day, correct?
No, it takes about 2 hours, I think, total for us to get everything done. Awesome. Because Daniel's takes a little bit longer now. Mm-hmm. But that's also because Daniel likes to talk.
Yeah.
But usually when I get up in the morning, I'll go get their school stuff ready before I read my Bible. So I'll get it out. And so I know what I'm going to do for the day. And I have the system. I did the crate method. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I did. So I have all their folders for whatever day they're going to do. The work for the day is already in a folder. So I just pull the folder out. That's what I found for me is super helpful because I can't deal with books and things like that. And then Silas is always trying to get their papers. So if Silas does get a paper, he just messes up one instead of messing up like their whole book or something.
Right.
So, yeah. So I just get their folders out and I have their books. I have a whole thing I set up. I got a big table and I set up their nice crates with everything. And then there's the teacher manuals, their crayons, everything is all ready and set for them. So in the morning, they just grab it and they can sit down. Usually I give Daniel his Bible paper. We talk about that. And then I move on to language arts with Ava because she only has to do language arts and math right now.
Right.
So then I move to Ava. We do hers. So basically I go back and forth between the subjects because by the time Daniel's done with his paper, Ava's done with Ava needs to do her next thing or whatever. Mm-hmm. So usually it's Daniel. I start with Daniel. I go to Ava. I go back to Daniel, back to Ava, just back and forth. And then Ava gets done pretty easily because she's just picked everything up from me teaching Daniel. So nice. I haven't had to teach her some of the things because she's like, oh, I know what that is already because she saw me teaching Daniel it. So it's easier with her. But Daniel is the one who I really have to just kind of teach him more with stuff since he's doing first grade. He's got all 5 subjects and everything.
Right. Yep. Kindergarten it does tend to take a lot less time because if you're doing the phonics and different things like that. So, but yeah, it should not homeschooling especially when you're doing the younger kids, it's not an all day thing. Mm-hmm. And yeah. I feel like parents are trying to take the public schools like way of doing it and trying to they don't think they're doing it right unless it looks like a public school day, but that's not.
It doesn't need to.
No. Yeah, definitely. So, and if your curriculum's causing you too much stress, just switch, like I said. And then for me, one of my biggest things with a lot of kids is teaching them to be independent learners. And now are you pretty scheduled as far as doing school every day? Or 5 out of the 7 days?
Yeah, I try to make sure it's every 5 out of the 7 days. I try to make sure we do it every day. Last month, I did a thing where we just had one day that was like a craft day. And so I think I want to try to do that where it was like one hands-on day. So we made cookies and then we made crafts and we made Christmas cards for people. And I thought that was really fun. And the kids really enjoyed it. They're like, it was the best day ever. So I'm like, okay, I want to try to do that once a month. Just do one day where it's more fun stuff instead of just like rigid school stuff every time. Because I feel like that'll help them enjoy it more. But I haven't had a chance to do it yet this month. So
yeah, I know I need to talk to my church ladies because you usually do one Friday a month, a homeschool co-op type thing where we get together and we've done different things. Like I think one of the last ones they did, they learned how to ferment cabbage to make sauerkraut. And we've done, the last one was at Julia's and we got to see their goats and did like a farmstead day type thing.
That's really cool.
So, yeah, I would encourage if you guys are in a church to get something going like that, where you can just do like a homeschool field trip, or something. My husband probably actually needs to plan one for like a museum or something for us. But yeah, take advantage of those. I know it's a little bit harder.
Yeah, it's harder for us because we're so far from everybody. We're pretty far. So they do like the homeschool field trip, but it's usually like on a Saturday or something like that. And we try not to do too many like big trips or anything like that on Saturday if we can, because it's just Sunday's already going to be busy enough. So we don't want to have to deal with a bunch of stuff on Saturday and Sunday, because then we're all going to be really worn out and grumpy on Sunday.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. You have to do what's best for your family too, for sure. Mm-hmm. So house cleaning, how do you stay up on house cleaning? I know we're running out of time, so we'll just try to throw some extra points in here, but how do you do your house cleaning?
So I usually have two clean times a day that I try to stick with the kids. It doesn't always happen, but usually it's right after school. I try to have them pick up, and they always help me with the laundry too. So if I do laundry and things, they have to put all the clothes away. Besides mine and John's, I do that. And then right before bedtime, I have them clean up. So they know they have to clean up all their toys and things. And if they don't clean up their toys when I'm sweeping, they know their toys are going to get thrown away. So they always clean up their toys. I haven't thrown any toys away. They just know that mommy will do it if you don't clean up your toys. So they're really good about cleaning them up when they know I'm sweeping. And sometimes I'll give them rewards if they help clean up really fast. So I'll make it a game. I'm like, okay, if you guys can get it cleaned in like 10 minutes, we'll all get a chocolate or something like that. And they love that. They'll get it done really quick. And I know, like you said, screen time sometimes is good. So put something on so I can clean up and everything. And I'll just get everything cleaned. I try to have one day a week where I do like some of my big things, like cleaning all the bedding for everybody and like scrubbing the toilet, the tub, the bathrooms, everything like that. But other than that, every day I have to do sweeping, cleaning up the toys, cleaning up the kitchen, doing the dishes, things like that. But I have a dishwasher, so I don't do them by hand because I couldn't do that.
Yeah,
too much.
That's really tough. It's so funny because you do everything so similar to how I did it when I was younger.
Yeah, when I saw your outline, I was like basically what I do is like basically the same.
Yeah, I know it is. It's so funny because I used to do the same thing. I would have like 2 main cleaning day. I would have like 2 times a day when we would clean. And then I liked waking up to a clean kitchen. So I always tried to make sure that my kitchen was clean before I'd wake up, because there's just something that puts you in a bad mood when you wake up and your kitchen's just destroyed.
Yeah. Because then you have to figure out how to cook with everything everywhere. And I love when the kitchen's just clean, the sink is empty and wiped down, everything is just like, okay, now I can handle the day.
Yes. And so, yep. And I've done the whole, I usually on Saturday would be my big clean day. There was times where I just had to sit each of them in a chair while I was mopping and put something on for them to watch. And I just, someone on my Facebook shared a post about how detrimental CoComelon is and how it's like basically cocaine or something to a kid's mind. And I was just like, really?
I didn't need to see that.
I'm like, I'm not sharing this because I don't think CoComelon is gonna. Maybe this is from and the mom that shared it only has a couple little kids, so I'm like, maybe this is from a mama of 8. But I'm thinking CoComelon while I'm mopping the floor is not gonna kill my kids, harm them for the rest of their life.
Yeah. So it's not like it's not like it's CoComelon all day long. It's
exactly,
just for like a little bit. It helps.
Exactly. I'm not gonna sit my kid in front of CoComelon for 8 hours a day, but for 20 minutes while I'm mopping the floor, I think it'll be fine.
I think I'd lose my mind if I had to listen to CoComelon for 8 hours a day.
It'd be like, no.
Yeah.
Yes. I'd like to go to bed. Like, oh no, I'm losing my mind. Yeah, that would be good. But I used to do even the little chore charts when they were younger, and we would rotate jobs. So they had like the little magnets. So like you get to do the sweeping today. And obviously when they're younger, you're going to have to sweep up after them. But when you teach them this stuff when they're little, as they get older, they're going to know how to do it. So
mine love to try to sweep. Even Silas will do it sometimes. And I'm like, no, you can't do it, because he just like hits people with a broom because it's so much bigger than him. So he's like running through the house, hitting people, or he's dragging the dustpan places where it doesn't need to go. And I'm like, no, buddy, you can't sweep. I'm sorry. You're only 2. You don't get to sweep.
Silas seems like your little Spitfire right now.
He is. He's very much my little Spitfire.
Well, he's right at that age. I'm telling you, 2 to 3 is tough. It's tough because they've learned that they have a will. And, mommy and daddy just kind of need to channel that will into the right ways.
Yeah, so now they're smart enough to know, like, a little bit more of what's good and what's bad. So they try to get away with as much as they can. And he could be very mean. He's this last couple of weeks, he started being like, when people ask him stuff, he's like, no. I'm like, stop that. Why are you doing that? It just came out of nowhere. But I'm like, you don't say yes. But
yeah, well, that's Hannah at 14 months. That's Hannah. Now, do you guys go on trips very often?
We have. Last year we got to go on a lot of little trips. We like to do day trips mostly. Mm-hmm. We don't usually go on like big trips unless we're going like to the beach, which is only 3 hours away, so it's not like super far. But last year was a year where we went on a lot of trips, since we went up to Illinois, and then we went to Florida, then we went to Illinois, then we came back. So we went like in this big triangle, and we were gone for 2 weeks. It was crazy. Wow. Yeah. And but usually we did. When we do trips, how I did for that one, I packed, like, we have a really big suitcase, and I packed vacuum sealed bags like per day for everybody's clothes for that day. So like I had everybody's clothes packed, and then I had a snack bag and I had game bags. So like they each had their own little bag that had their toys and games that they could play with that day. And then I had a bag with just pull-ups and wipes and diapers in it. Mm-hmm. And since we had so far to drive, I just had Daniel was able to just go in a pull-up if we didn't have time to stop and things like that. Just go in the pull-up, and you could just put a new one on if you have to pee again or something like that. And usually that helped cut down time of stopping too much. Because otherwise we'll just stop so long. Because every stop, I don't know about y'all, but every single stop we take ends up adding like another 20, 30 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
And it's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah. Easily. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
by the time everyone piles out and then they all go to the bathroom. Yeah, what a good idea. I always see like all these ideas, all these Pinteresty things came out after my kids were like already older. So I never got to really do this because they all, pack for themselves now. But I always wanted to do the whole, like every outfit for a day for everyone, like in a Ziploc. That's so cool.
I had to do it because I'm like, I didn't know how I was going to pack 2 weeks worth of clothes. And like, I'm like, I can't do 2 weeks. I can't do clothes every single day. So I had to figure out what would last. And then like, okay, I had to have outfits for like when we did the laundry and things like that. So I had to figure it took me like, I had to write it all out. And for me, I like to make lists. So I know I can see everything. I know I didn't forget anything. So I have to make the list, and then I have to figure out what goes for what day and where we're going on what day. So it took a lot of work, but it made it a lot easier for me doing it that way.
That's really cool. And your kids managed to survive. So how long did the games keep their interest? That's what I'm wondering.
They were pretty good for like the first like 3 hours of the trip. Usually they do pretty good for 3 hours ish. They could talk to each other and sing and stuff like that. And then after a while, it's just like, okay, we have to pull the tablet out and y'all can watch some Paw Patrol. Because we can't do it. They just start fighting and getting grumpy. And it's like, okay, we only drive for like 8 hours in a day. So,
yeah.
Like y'all can just watch Paw Patrol, and then not including like when we would stop and stuff like that. So
right. You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. On those road trips, we just had to do it. We had to do the tablet. So
yeah. Now this past time when we went to Florida, another thing you can do with little kids is you can drive at night. That is an option. My husband is usually not a night driver, but we started driving Sunday night towards Florida, and he was just like, what? I don't feel like spending, because we have to get 2 hotel rooms. It's $200 by the time we do that. He's like, I don't feel like spending $200 when we're going to stay in a hotel room for 3 hours for some sleep. Let's keep driving. So we drove the whole night.
Oh, wow.
And then the baby slept the entire time. So he was like, you know what? On the way back, we're driving the whole night again. So,
wow.
So we did.
That. John's like, I don't want to drive all night. I don't want to do that.
And my husband does not normally. He was like, when we first started, when we knew we were going to drive, he's like, we're not driving at night. I'm not a night driver. He's like, I hate driving at night. But then I think just because he saw how nice it was driving while the baby was sleeping, he was like, let's keep going.
Yeah.
So that is an option if you guys prefer night driving. Now, I'm not going to say that it didn't really cut down on traffic, though, because there still seem to be quite a few people out, even at night.
Really? That's surprising.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I remember going places with my dad driving. My dad loved driving through the whole night. And the roads would be like barren. There'd be like no one. But I guess everyone discovered that trick because there was quite a few people out there. So, but anyways, we are closing in now. So any last words of advice for someone with lots of littles? Maybe they are feeling overwhelmed. They're at a point in their life where they're like, I'm drowning. I can't keep my head above water. What would be some advice that you would give to them?
I would definitely say to just, like a lot of it is how your mentality is with it. Like you have to really embrace this lifestyle. You can't do it because somebody else wants you to or anything like that. It has to be because you want to. And if you really embrace it, you just okay, this is what it's going to be for today or however long, and we're just going to survive it. And then it really helps me. I can't just dwell on how hard things are and things like that, because then it just makes me feel way more down. If I'm just like, okay, we're going to get through it, we survive it. And I'm like, oh, that wasn't so bad after all. So just really embracing it, because, if that's what you want to live your life as, if you're just going to sit there sad about it, then it's going to make your life miserable all the time. So I know it's all about just really just enjoy your kids while you have the chance. Just be really glad that you're able to, because I know there's a lot of people who, I never had a job. So I know for some ladies, they had a job and things like that. And I know it could help just not thinking about how, oh, I wish I could have my job back, things like that. It's a blessing to be able to stay home with your kids. It really is. And, it's a blessing to know they're safe with you and everything. It helps me just knowing that,
Right. And no one's going to love your kid any more than you do,
Exactly. Yeah.
So you're going to love them the most. I would say, if you are having severe issues where you just want to stay in bed all day, you can't get up, I would definitely let someone know how you're feeling. Yeah. Reach out to someone, a lifeline, whether that's a pastor's wife. There are low dosage medications that you can take that would help. Because I've heard horror stories of young moms, and it's usually young moms with little kids that have taken their own life. So that is never an option. Please don't ever do that. Please get help before it comes to that. But I do think, 90% of how we feel, it is our mindset. And there's been days that have just started out horrible, and you just it's mind over matter, and you have to, it's not, I have to change my attitude about this, or otherwise it's going to continue to get worse and worse and worse. So, 90%.
Some days like that, on days like that, I'll choose to do something like weird or fun with the kids. I'll just start playing with them, or do something just funny to make them laugh. And then it kind of changes the mood for the rest of the day. I know that has helped me a lot before. Just do something silly and just kind of have some fun, and then it'll help cheer everybody up. Yeah, that's helped me before.
Yes. And Ella, she did so good. She's made it.
Yeah, she's just laying on the bed next to me right now. She's just kicking me. She likes to do that. So.
Yes. But yeah, I definitely think mentality is the biggest part of it. How we think throughout the day is going to come out in our actions and our thoughts, our hearts. It's going to show what's in there. So, oh, baby girl, you were so good. You made it the whole time.
Can you say hi, sweetheart?
Hi.
Hi, Chunky Mama. Yeah, Chunky Mama.
I love chunky babies. I love chunky babies. They're so cute. Oh, there she goes. There's a smile. There's a smile for me. Yeah. Yes, and I do like what Amber said too. KJV said, I like what Amber said about praying when having a hard time or a bad day. And I think motherhood is one of me. I don't know. It's one of those things that's made me pray the most in my life. I know that.
Definitely. Yeah, me too. I've leaned on God more from all the things that I've had to do with as a mom than anything else in my life.
Yes. Oh, for sure. Definitely. And I do like what you said too about just embracing it and realizing that this is something that you want. You can't do this because someone else expects it of you or wants you to. This is something that is 100% you. So
yeah, exactly. Because I feel like I've seen people who do it because they have to, and it ends up failing. And it's it's going to be so much harder if you're doing it because you have to. Yes. It should be because you want to. It has to be from your heart too.
Yes, exactly. Has to be a choice that you make. And then, like you said, just embracing it. I say all the time to embrace the chaos, because a lot of times motherhood is chaos.
Yeah, definitely.
It is.
I say, it's like a circus when we walk around, because there's just so many of us. And I had people back when I only had 3 when I was pregnant, some girl was she came around the corner and she was like, are they all yours? And I'm like, yeah. It's like, I only have 3. And they weren't even being loud or anything. They were being quiet and just like playing together, but they weren't being loud or causing any problems. And I'm like, it's only 3 kids. Like, what in the world?
Oh yes. We've walked in before and I've seen people like going like counting as we're walking in. So yeah, it definitely, I guess we do appear to be a circus to some people. And sometimes between about 5 to 8 at night, I feel like my house is a circus because it's loud and crazy and chaotic.
It's always the last hour before bedtime. Everybody's insane for some reason. I'm like, what is happening?
I say that a lot. What is happening? That is a good way to describe my life. So
definitely.
That's great. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. Thanks, ladies, for watching. If you guys have any questions, I'll tell Amber, I'll redirect her to the comments. So leave them down below. Like the video, share the video, all that good stuff. And Amber, hang on and I will go ahead and end it. But go ahead and tell everyone bye if you want.
Bye. Thanks for having me.
Bye, ladies. We will see you next